guys, welcome back to the channel. Another video today, and today we are talking about the power outages again. I appreciate there's a lot of you folks are really worried, and there are numerous amount of articles online about the power outage, and I think they're there and they're making people panic because clearly, you know, newspapers and everybody, their job is to basically to scaremonger a lot of people, although a lot of things would be true, but the titles they create is just unbelievable. They're basically, as you've read the news, I'm sure you've seen this, they're talking about the seven-day power cuts, but what people don't realize, it's not really going to be a 7 day of solid power cuts unless really severe things going to happen. And let's be frank, if we get to this stage and we suddenly have a whole power grid down for 7 days, then it's going to be a massive civil unrest, and the country, we're just not ready for this. We're just not going to make this through. So it would not come to the stage of a 7 solid days of no power. At least, God forbid, it doesn't. So anyway, as it stands at the moment, what the government is going to try to do, they're going to trying to appeal to you and tell you basically, rather than running your dishwasher at 6 o'clock in the evening, try and run it 8 o'clock in the evening and basically see if we can conserve the energy that way. I don't understand, maybe that's just, I'm not being naive, I just don't see how much difference that make whether run this at 6 or the 8. Yes, the demand is there at 6 o'clock, but less demand at 8 o'clock, but we're all going to be still drawing the same amount of energy just a few hours later. But anyway, that's not the point. So this is going to be the first thing that they're going to be asking. They're going to be appealing to us. Second thing, they're going to be appealing to our bigger companies, trying to reduce obviously the consumption of the electricity. And another thing I read somewhere, apparently they'll be offering a £10 a day to people to, again, change their habits. And again, I think they use the dishwasher as an example, and they say that basically rather than running it at 6 o'clock in the evening, you run it at like 8 or 9 o'clock later. So to me, £10 a day, £300 a month, okay, I'll do it. It's not particularly hard, let's be frank, you know, just change your habits a little bit, get some extra money. I don't see how they're going to do it. I don't see how could they possibly implement that. There's a lot of people that will jump on this bandwagon, but I don't think we have money in the backup of a government to be able to pay £300 a month to everybody just to turn their dishwasher off for a bit. So I don't know how many days, but anyway, that's not the point. It's just basically the information that I'm feeding you to what I've done the research online. So the next thing is they're talking about this Operation Yarrow, whatever you pronounce it, is basically the government plans of doing the rolling blackout. And if you read a couple of articles there, it's very misleading and it's very sort of gets you thinking, right? They're talking there, they're doing this operation just because they're scared, obviously the fears of the Putin attacks, and in case he cuts our gas supply. So they're using him as an excuse to saying this is why we're doing this. And yet if you read the article further on and you read other articles, apparently this Operation Yarrow been in the making since the end of last year. So technically they're using him now, using the Putin and the war as an excuse, but there's clearly something going on behind that, because I bet you bottom dollar if there now wasn't a war and they'll find another excuse, be it another COVID or something else, then why they would want to cut the power cuts. It's just purely my opinion, but again, by reading the articles, this is the impression that I'm getting. And also the fact that they used the word, this secret, super secret document, and they're leaked. Not being funny, but there are super secret documents there for like Area 51, and they don't leak until like 10 years down the line. So how come suddenly this thing that it's so important, so secret, is leaked out? So all the newspapers and whatever people online writing the articles about it. So again, another thing to think about, is it really that secret, or they really want you to know to something to get ready for anyway? So again, there's conspiracy theories, and I'm so one of those people that are really into things, to not to say too much, but I analyze to what I read, and I try to find sense for myself to how I want to look at the situation. Anyway, so the Operation Yarrow is basically when they're going to be doing those rolling blackouts. So there is a chart online that you guys can see. Sorry, I should have had that ready. This looks like this. I'm sure you've seen if you've done your research already. It basically means that you guys get allocated a letter in your postcode, or not your postcode, to your house, and you have a chart that tells you that you're going to be having a 3-hour blackout 3 or 4 times a week, depending on a household. This is basically stage 1, so I do apologize, I have a paper there just I need to get my numbers correctly. So 3 hours, so each day will be divided on 8 slots of 3 hours, and out of the week you'll have, say, Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, you'll be given different slots of 3 hours that electricity will go off. So they then go on to the stage number 2. So if the stage number 1 doesn't work, they will double. So we'll have 6 or 7 3-hour slots throughout the week. They will turn the power off. Stage 3 goes to 9, so it's quite a lot. So we're getting to the stage now 9 times a week, so we're talking about it's more than once every day. And of course they're talking about the 3-hour thing, but they also say it does not include the power down and the startup of the electricity again. So that 3 hours could potentially be 4 hours, but in the rural areas, knowing now, like, it's probably going to be like 5 or 6 hours. So here we are. And again, level 5, there's another level, there's a lot of levels there. Level 5, it gives you 15 lots of 3 a week, so that makes us 45 hours a week of no power. And of course they're missing the things, they're not telling us each individual, but it basically progressively gets worse. And in level 18, they're talking about a total shutdown of a power grid, everything apart from hospitals and airports and the major things that doesn't, like the supply chain doesn't get affected. So total power down, I cannot imagine like how would they possibly do this. There are also things in the article saying that if again things doesn't improve, that we're talking obviously longer power cuts, 24-hour power cuts for longer periods thereafter. So it's basically that's what they're preparing us for. So for all of you guys at first who are worried, and I know it's just the news articles that make people panic and worry. I worry, and I 100% know the power cut's going to happen. Maybe not because we're going to be short of power, but something else maybe going on behind with the government. I don't know, but I know for a fact there's their way of basically controlling what we do. And I know read somewhere else we're talking about like a power tokens type thing, so you have your X amount of power that you can use. So this is all heading somewhere, and it's a much bigger picture out there. So I don't want to sort of start on conspiracy theory, but it's just so much information out there, and it's up to you guys. Have a look, have a read, but don't overly panic. We will do, and I'm pretty sure, as I said, they will settle with the power cuts, but I'm sure we'll hopefully stop at, you know, our 3 hours every couple of days, and hopefully we'll think better, unless, as I said, there's underlying issue why the government really wants to do that. So anyway, so how to find out, Google online, have a look at the Operation Yarrow. It gives you links to the places where you can find your letter that is assigned to your household. It's in your bill or online bill there, and you can basically see in advance which days of the week you're potentially going to be having your power cuts. However, at the moment we don't know the exact day when that's going to start. Initially they were talking about is when it's going to be the coldest days, whatever, in January or February. We don't know yet, but I'm sure they're going to keep updating us as soon as they know what they want people to know. So here we are. Anyway, main thing, guys, don't panic. Do we have to do, keep prepping. I will think now I probably will do a little bit more of other preps to do with the power cuts, just in case we have a power outage for, you know, a week. And I know that you might not be aware, but last year, I think it was last year, we had severe storms, and a lot of areas up in, I think, Middlesex or somewhere, they've been without power for like 3 weeks. So, and it just was just weather. So with this, and especially with the little areas, little villages, I don't know, I'm really skeptical, and I do, God forbid, it's not going to happen, but I wouldn't really want to live a week without power. Not that saying we can't do it, but of course, yes, it's fridge freezers, yes, we have generators, but it just all depends, guys, all depends. Anyway, so my advice to you, panic not, keep prepping, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.